What's going on, everyone? Video 12. This video is, what's an oh shit moment where you realized you've been doing something the wrong way for years? Posted by Adept Warrior. First one, I had a used car and didn't realize until a couple of years later that it had a remote start. Person buying my now more used car. This has remote start? Me. No. Person pushes button, starts car. Me. When I was 5, a Pizza Hut employee told me that the powder on the breadsticks was called fairy dust. Ordered extra fairy dust on my breadsticks until I was around 14, when an employee said, "Do you mean garlic salt?" It still devastates me to realize how obtuse I was. We bought a nice liquor cabinet. We got it delivered and noticed it was a bit shorter than we thought. No biggie. 3 years later, we're moving. Lift up cabinet, and these beautiful, ornate screw-on legs wrapped in tape and bubble wrap fall off the bottom. Looks so much better now. It wasn't very long, but when I was learning to drive, my dad was explaining the rule of thumb regarding a safe distance to be behind a car in front of you. I thought it meant to hold your thumb up, and if your thumb didn't cover the entire car, you were too close to it. When he caught me doing that, he asked me what I was doing. When I explained, he burst out laughing, then considered it and concluded it wasn't a bad idea, but perhaps distracting. I owned a light blue colored microwave for about 3 years that a family member gave me for a housewarming gift. Thought it was cool, never saw a blue microwave before. One night, a buddy asked why I never took the blue plastic wrap off my microwave, then proceeded to peel it off for me. Damn, that bitch is silver. Still miss my blue microwave sometimes though. After moving to a new city, I went to the laundromat, and the Korean lady working was yelling at me about something I couldn't understand. After some pantomime, it became clear that she was upset I was putting in the wrong detergent, but it was the same kind I've been using for 8 years, since moving away from college and behind. Turns out I've been washing my clothes with only fabric softener for nearly a decade. They always smelled good, so I never really thought about it. Not my proudest moment. My family always had a cup next to the bathroom sink in case you needed to rinse your mouth after brushing your teeth or maybe get a quick drink of water in the middle of the night. My grandma had the same cup at her house. I used it for years whenever I was thirsty. One day she saw me doing this and said, "Don't use that cup. That's where grandma puts her teeth." When I was a kid, I was told that the paper that came on cupcake muffins was edible. I would spend a decade eating them like this, paper and all, until a friend pointed it out. Travel frequently for work and only just noticed that most laptop bags have a strap to place over a rolling suitcase handle. I used to fill the kettle by the spout. My parents have always done it this way. I thought the center part was mainly for decoration, but not functional. I don't know why I never questioned this. One day, I bought a new tea kettle, and my husband was like, "What the fuck? What is inside this?" And with great ease, opened the center to pull out a manual with instructions and whatnot. I was drinking dirty paper water for like 2 weeks. I used to pull my pants down all the way at the urinal. Found out I was lighting incense wrong. Boyfriend and I got a bunch to add to our collection of nice smells, and we would light them, and they would just start a little inferno. Convinced we were buying cheap garbage incense, we stopped using them. I proceeded to buy a different brand in hopes that those would work. I test light, and the same thing, it just goes up in an inferno. Roommate informs us you're supposed to blow them out once they catch. Oops. I always thought eggplant tasted itchy, like itchy was a flavor, like sour or salty. Fed some to my baby and his face turned red wherever the eggplant touched, and I realized we were both just allergic to eggplant. And itchy isn't a flavor. I owned a car with swivel headlights, and it was very nice to have that. Discovered 3 years later that I had never turned on the swivel feature. Oh man, I thought the AC button in my car, Snowflake, was defrost, so I never used it in summer. Fuck did I feel dumb. 2 years. I didn't find out that I was supposed to punch out for lunch until my third job, and even then it was because my coworker mentioned it in passing that they were clocking out for lunch. Caulk guns. Everyone says that you're supposed to pull it towards you, but I saw a Reddit comment saying that they're designed to be pushed away instead. My boss looks at me funny for doing it, but it's exceptionally cleaner and tighter. Edit. quite a few of y'all are mentioning that you're unclear on what you're pushing away. When you cock, you slide the entire gun across the crack that you're sealing, so it's that. You can only ever slide it towards you or away from you, unless you're going sideways, I guess. And most people pull the entire gun and tip towards them, whereas sliding it in the other direction works too. A few of all sound like you know exactly what you're doing and have added a couple other tips on how to do it cleaner and better too, so thanks for that. My wife and I have this ceiling fan / light in our bedroom in the house we moved into 2 years ago. It has a remote control for the fans and lights. About a year and a half ago, the light suddenly stopped working. The fan works well, and we didn't have a ton of money, so we just lived with lamps in the room. Always been frustrated with how damn dark it is. I was scrolling some other thread on TIFU a few weeks ago, and the top post was a guy talking about how his light stopped working years ago, and then he found out that it was just dimmed, which you do by holding down the button on the remote. It sounded like so much like our fan. I went and tried it. Dimmed. Living in a foreign country where I was actively learning the language, social cues go a long way when learning a language on the spot. That being said, someone once said a phrase to me while serving a hot dish, which I assumed as meaning, "excuse me." After going through crowds and lines, replicating the same phrase in an attempt to be respectful of those around me, I abruptly found out that the phrase actually meant enjoy. Hindsight completely makes sense. The odd looks I would get by saying enjoy while squeezing past people all of a sudden made sense. Not because I've been doing something wrong my entire life, but saw it wrong. I'm colorblind, and my entire life I thought peanut butter was green until I turned 19, and when I found out it was brown, my mind was blown. It took so long because no one really talks about the color of things like that. For years I would struggle to take the cap off new deodorant, the one under the lid. It was always so stuck down onto the deodorant stick. I had an aha moment a year or so ago that I could simply crank the deodorant stick up until the cap could easily be removed. I'm 34. It took me until age 34 to realize this. When I first got a debit card and would go out to eat at restaurants with my friends, I would leave a cash tip on the table. When I got the receipt to put how much I was paying, I would write down how much money I left on the table. For at least 6 months, I gave double tips to every waitress I had. I have a flashlight that I've used for nearly a decade. I originally got it because it really looks like a lightsaber, and it was cheap. Plus, you could twist the lens around to focus it, or so I thought. When I got home and put batteries in it, I found out that twisting the top didn't change the focus. I assumed the top being able to twist was just a result of it being cheap. Fast forward to a month or so ago, a storm picked up during the night, so I went out to check nothing was going on or going to blow away. As I was trying to open the gate, the flashlight slipped, and I caught it by the top part that twist, but the rest of the flashlight slid down about 2 inches down from the twisty part, and it turns out if you pull the top part up, it turns into a lantern type thing for lighting up an area. It's nothing big, but there have been times where it would have been incredibly useful to be able to put the torch down and light up a wide area. Edit. Okay, so I didn't expect this, but here are some pictures seeing as so many people are interested, and no, it's not a flashlight. If you want, there's the URLs. If you feel like typing them in, check out the pictures. Former school nurse here. The number of high school boys who don't know what circumcision is amazingly high. Many think they were born circumcised. When they finally see a foreskin, they are in complete awe. When they find out the brown ring around their penis is a scar from where their foreskin was, they are also amazed. My mom has been pronouncing Massachusetts for years, and no one corrected her because they thought she just had strong feelings about Massachusetts. My name is Ryan. It took me until I was in first grade to realize my name wasn't in the alphabet. My mom had told me my name was in the alphabet, and I felt so lucky. She obviously meant the letters to spell my name were in the alphabet, but nope. It took that long to realize the alphabet didn't go WX Ryan Z. So I had always assumed that gas stations had pipes that led to a nearby oil plant or something. I lived in Houston, so during Hurricane Harvey in 2017, there was so much news about the gas stations being empty because they weren't being filled. I was in a car with my sisters and we were talking about it, and I mentioned I don't understand how the gas supply was limited when the pipes are underground and not affected by flooding. They both looked at me with the most confused faces ever, and one of them said, "You do know that trucks come to fill up gas stations, right?" And I was completely shook by this and had no idea they asked me. "So when you see the big trucks at little gas stations in the city with the tubes in the ground, what do you think they're doing?" And I replied, "Filling up their gas." Not something I did wrong, but definitely something I thought wrong for 17 years. That'll conclude this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully check out next video.